Yeah, so I get that, but it's just, I forgot what I was going to say.
Hello and welcome to A Cup of Queers. We are a couple of queers. We're the family in your ears, the family you wish you had. I don't know why I entered this podcast like this. My name is Sean, he, him.
And I'm Lindsay, she, her.
Thank you so much for coming in today. Thank you so much for coming out to all of those who are brave, wonderful, and fabulous. So, Lindsay had the wonderful idea for our topic of today. Lindsay, why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown?
Oh, I don't even know where to start. We are going to talk about the Instagram accounts of LGBTQ plus folks that have been deleted. They're being targeted and hacked by somebody or somebodies. And this has been happening for several years now, but it seems to be ramping up again. So we're going to go ahead and dive into that topic.
Okay. Yeah. No, I know that this has been an issue for a lot of people within the queer community, as well as people who feel as though their content is being unfairly censored in a way, and they feel attacked on a personal level because so many people within social media, build reputations, and they feel as though they're being threatened by the higher powers that be in a way. Is that how you felt when your account was deleted?
I definitely felt targeted. I felt very vulnerable. I've never felt specifically kind of singled out, even though it wasn't just me. In my life, I've never felt like anyone was doing something to harm me, specifically for who I am and what I stand for. So that was a strange feeling. I woke up and someone that I know through Instagram had messaged me through Venmo. So it's a good thing that I had purchased something from their shop, and they reached out and were like, your account's gone, something's wrong with your account, send me a message. And so I ended up talking to them for a little bit. It was a couple, and so many people reached out to me, and it did help me feel less alone, but it was just this feeling of being isolated from this beautiful community that we're all developing together, and the feeling of support that I've been receiving since January of this year when I first made my account, and all of a sudden in the blink of an eye it was all gone. There were probably 10 or 11 of us, and then there's like another wave of I think 5 or 6 that are currently down today, so it is still happening.
And do you see like any coincidence? Do you see such as like your account in comparison to the ones that you feel are similar?
Oh yeah, they're all LGBTQ. The first bunch of us this round all had about 10,000 followers. So it was decent sized accounts, but now it looks like they're targeting smaller accounts as well.
Okay, so do you think that it has something to do with the amount of size that you have, the amount of influence that you're able to have with the community that you've been able to build?
I do. I'm not even sure how these people are finding our accounts. I mean, it's pretty easy to just type in, LGBTQ and all of us pop up, but it's just so weird to see the accounts that are disappearing, and just thinking about what someone is thinking as they go through these and say, "Oh, here's a nice little family just minding their day. I'll delete their account, or I'll get theirs deleted." And, "Oh, here's this beautiful couple sharing their lives. I'll get them
Yeah.
deleted." Like, what are they thinking, and how does this even cross someone's mind to do something like that?
Do you think that it has something to do with an individual or simply a system that is doing it without anyone's say?
I think that it's an individual or a group of individuals who are specifically targeting us as a community, and they are telling other people, like calling other people to do the same thing. There's a group of us. We have a group chat now of people who have been deleted, or people who are very large accounts that are helping to kind of get this momentum moving forward to try to make a change and try to get Instagram or Facebook really to stop this from happening.
Yeah.
People are trying to do research to figure out, who's behind this and why. And one of the things that someone found was it was one account and they had done a screen recording of finding an account that had been deleted. This account came back and they were sharing that they were back and their stories and they were so excited. And the person had done I already said this, but a screen recording of her video and then reported it, and instantly it was taken down. And so one thing that we found out, and I'm a little bit scared to share this because I worry if someone will then take this and do this to someone else. I don't think our listeners would do that, but they were reporting it as a suicide attempt. And we found some articles that said that Instagram, of course, is very cautious about that because people have unfortunately killed themselves on, Instagram or Facebook Live. So if someone reports that, they don't ask any questions. They don't stop and say, okay, what is this account? What are they doing? Is this a false report? They just instantly take it down. So that's one way that we know that they've gotten our accounts taken down. And it does take 2 or 3 days of emailing Instagram and going through all these hoops to try to get your account back. And everyone that's lost theirs so far has been just very stressed about losing their content that, we've all worked so hard to create and to write and to share these photos and these moments of our lives and these vulnerabilities.
Absolutely.
And the possibility of losing all of that. And it seems like that's not going to happen, that if your account's taken down, you get it back as it was, but it's still that toll on your mental health of wondering if you've lost all your hard work and just that feeling of being isolated that I mentioned before.
Yeah. And I mean, something that I wanted to trail back to a little bit was the fact that you mentioned the suicide, the notice.
I can't remember exactly how they worded it, but if you go to report someone,
oh yes,
there's all these different options that you can do. And I get some of them, they're probably like, oh, okay, we'll look into this, but that is one that is basically instant grounds for removal.
Yeah, and I think that leads me to question whether or not it's simply the algorithm that is capturing all of these reports and instantly doing it. Because clearly, if there was someone behind the other screen looking at this report and saying, like, hello, clearly this account is not anything to be concerned about, clearly they wouldn't be doing this to people like you, in my opinion anyway. And I think that it would take, at least from my thoughts, like the 2 or 3 days for some actual person to check into it. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, I agree. It is complicated because, I mean, imagine if your child was on Instagram and they saw someone kill themselves. So I understand where they're coming from with that and keeping that from. I mean, I just can't imagine having a child or a teenager see that, because there was that time where teenagers were being called to do things, and do you know what I'm talking about? Like several years ago, it was like this weird. Yeah, so I get that, but it's just, I forgot what I was going to say.
I was thinking about in particular how this would have like a long-term effect. Like if people were able to come together and report someone like yourself repeatedly, is there a result that you found among your group?
So as far as I know, I mean, there are accounts that got deleted this time and said that they had been deleted several years ago. And so it wasn't their first rodeo, but there's an account that was deleted when that was last week, and they're down again now. So clearly Instagram isn't doing anything about that. And like, what's the amount of times you can be taken down and get back your account? And at what point are they going to say, okay, this person's been taken down 5 times, we have to set up some way to keep them from getting taken down again, because they're clearly being attacked. And yeah, we're just trying to figure out how we can get through to Facebook to get their attention, because Instagram, of course, is owned by Facebook, to get their attention so that they can put something in place to protect us and any other kind of account or community that's deliberately being attacked.
Yeah, no, I'd like to know, because I know that on the other end of the spectrum, when it comes to people being malicious online or outright lying and creating false information, this is now just something that's being addressed within the concerns that involve straight people, and so I think that even the concerns that involve straight people are now just being addressed how long do you think it'll take for people in our community or other marginalized communities for their issues to be addressed? Is my question.
That's a great question. I think that it depends on the community and how close knit they are. One of the things that I said to my partner when my account was down and I had so many people reaching out to me or tagging my account on their stories and asking Instagram where my account was and where all these accounts were, I said, whoever is messing with us doesn't realize how close knit we are. Because I'm not kidding, when someone's account is they just disappear out of the blue, almost instantly people are figuring out what's going on, reaching out. We've all exchanged phone numbers and we're
Amazing.
reaching out to other people saying, hey, make sure someone else has your phone number so that if you disappear, you have someone you can contact or vice versa. And everyone's fighting really hard to make noise to get these accounts back. So
Good.
with, I know, isn't it amazing?
Love that.
It really helped to just not feel so alone when that happened. But that said, the LGBTQ plus community is very close knit. If you are, of course, there are people who aren't out yet and who aren't maybe haven't made connections yet, which is very unfortunate because they might not be able to feel so supported if that happens. But another community that's vulnerable, from what I can see, it would just depend on how close they are and how much they would group together and say, we're not going to take this anymore. We're very clearly being targeted.
I think it would be really powerful for people to know that we would be having their backs if they ever wanted to reach out and ever had an issue like this. They're not alone in this fight, and that we have a crowd of people that's willing to back them up.
Definitely.
Because I think we're moving very, very quickly into that really chaotic space of not knowing whether or not you're going to be personally okay to really show who you are in public and online. And I think online is just one of those things that is going to continue to be very worrisome for people in marginalized communities like us. So that's just how I feel.
I agree. And it's so unfortunate because I think that right now is with the technology that we have, people are starting to be more visible and putting their stories out there and sharing their unique experiences, or not so unique, because people are starting to see, oh, here's this other person who went through the same thing that I did, and just making those connections and
Yes.
being, like you said, putting their whole self out there. And it feels amazing and it's so validating. But then these kinds of things happen and you do start to question, am I safe? Is my family safe? One thing that I thought of is, am I harming my son by putting photos of him online when there's clearly someone who's going, I don't want this person to be sharing her story.
Yeah.
Is my son safe? Is my partner safe? Am I safe? And I'll be honest, and I don't want to make this about me because there's a whole group of us who've been targeted. I haven't posted on my post except for my partner's birthday was this weekend,
Okay.
or on my feed. I've been active on my stories, but I just feel like such a writer's block and I don't know what to share because I had been so vulnerable. And now I just think, what if I post something that draws attention to me? Man, it's rough.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's really valid for you to feel like there is a lingering feeling of being silenced when you are so used to having people in the real world be so aggressive towards marginalized communities, as we've seen throughout the Trump presidency in America, and people are just not afraid anymore, it seems. And so I don't want to like make that political thing. I'm not going to expand upon that as of right now. Okay, you just wait. I mean, it's really normal, I think, for you to feel this way and for it to have a long-term effect. And I really hope to you and to the rest of the people who have felt silenced by being deleted off of Instagram or any other social platform, that they take this experience with a grain of salt and continue to represent people and continue to empower people. And I know that you, among everyone else in the incredible queer online community, just gives each other the opportunity to learn about each other and to feel good about the lives that we are contributing online. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. It really means a lot to me. And I know so many of us are here, not for ourselves, although of course it does feel good to get out some of those feelings and to find connections and similar stories to our own. But it really is for other people.
Yeah.
And we want to be here. We want to be visible for those younger queer people who are afraid to come out or don't have support, or, someone else like myself who was married to a man and left that relationship and is coming out, quote unquote, late in life and figuring out how to co parent with their ex partner and all of those things. We just want to be able to be here for those people. So thank you so much for saying that. It really does mean a lot to me.
You got it. Yeah, and I mean, I've always felt such a connection to the people online, especially the transgender community for me. And I know that there's a lot of different communities that are really being represented, such as like RuPaul's Drag Race, lots of gay men on there. Fabulous. We love it. But I just have always felt like that representation, the truth that they tell, and the really meaningful stories that make humanity, think about what matters to you, and kind of reevaluate what will matter to you in the future if you continue to live your truth. It
Mm.
really has meant a lot to me. Yeah.
I just love what you said. You said humanity, and you really just hit the nail on the head, because like the accounts and the groups of people that you were mentioning, that really is, it's humanity. And it's amazing to see the variety, the stories of all of these different people. And it's just incredible that we're able to do that and to share that. So I love how you put that.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, and it's been so beautiful to grow up with other people and just witness their transformation as they allow themselves to be more comfortable, and you can see it in their eyes and you can hear it in their voice, and it feels like a friend that you are just so proud of seeing. And then there's like a group of people that are oftentimes applauding them with you, and it feels like you are doing something that means something. And even if that just means like watching a video and keeping up with their lives and hearing them out with the struggles that they go through in the future as they grow up, it has been just so beautiful and so interesting. And it's yeah, it's what makes YouTube interesting. It's what makes Instagram interesting. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. It's so amazing to see. I guess for me, what I'm thinking of when you're talking about, like you said, I think you said watching people kind of grow up, is how I feel like actually know so many people that I've never physically met. You know their pets' names, you know their kids' names, you watch their kids grow up, or you watch them, for me, you watch them go through their pregnancy, and then you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that baby's two already, or whatever.
Yeah.
I say that because like puppies, pets and kids, they're the things that show us how quickly time really flies. And it's just amazing to feel like you are kind of a part of everyone's journey. And I don't know, it's just incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when we came into a lot of our own, sometimes we would hear on popular media or even from the people around us that what we were experiencing was just a phase. And I think that when we view people such as yourself online, it gives us the opportunity to see that no, these things aren't a phase, because people are living happily for a very long time, and you can just see it by scrolling down on their feed, and I love it so much. It
Yeah,
proves them wrong.
I agree. But I will say that the more followers you get, the more you draw in those hate comments. And I definitely get them. And I know so many of us still get those hate comments. But the way I see it is they are offended by our happiness. And that's just what they feel like they can do to just take that away from us. But they are seeing those things. Like you said, they're seeing that we are having happy, fulfilling lives despite against what they think we should be doing. And we're here and we're queer and we're not going anywhere.
Shit.
Woo!
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that we really like diverged. Is that the word?
I think so.
Delved. Yeah, that we really dipped our toes into this topic, because I think you have such a unique perspective, as well as the other many creators that I've been able to meet and learn so much from, because the life of a creator is a different life than from what many of us who are just the ones who watch and scroll and enjoy all of the lovely content. And it's especially interesting when you're a queer creator that's putting yourself out there in a way that many people just aren't confident enough to do.
That's very true.
Thank you guys so much for listening today. Let us know if you have any thoughts on the topic. Rate and review us on Apple iTunes. We've been forgetting to say that this entire time so far, but it really helps us to get a little bit of exposure out there in the world. So we would really appreciate it. So thank you guys so much for coming out for us today, coming out and living your truth. Cheers.